Hi, I'm Paul Ingram from Gloucester High School, Gloucester, Massachusetts, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about our wing tee. I previously did a presentation on conflicts created by the wing tee, and this presentation is on game planning and play calling, and also a little bit about the system that we use to run the wing tee, and just some general information that I've developed over the years running the wing tee and being a head football coach. So I hope you get something out of this. Certainly seems to work for us, and hopefully maybe a couple of things will help your offense go a little bit better. Thank you. All right, one of the things that I think is really important is as who you hire as assistant coaches in a system, especially if you haven't been a head coach before. I think, in my experience, some assistant coaches, they're excellent position coaches, but some of them actually don't see the whole picture, and it takes a long time to see the whole picture. I know when I came out of college and started coaching, it was not something that I could do. It just was an awful lot of information. Try and find at least two assistant coaches that can see the whole picture, people with experience, and know how the whole offense works and know how the whole defense works. And they're assistants that can make game day adjustments. You can't put everything on your shoulders. You've got to have some people that you can rely on and help you, especially game day. You don't want to make the adjustments on Monday that it doesn't do you very much good to have those adjustments then. And the last thing I think is really important is find somebody, a coach, that can teach punting and kicking. I don't know how many teams I see that the punters have poor footwork and the ball goes off the side of their foot. I think it's really important in the kicking game and to find somebody who knows that part of the game and can teach it. Why the wing tee? Well, for our personnel, it's the best offense to move the ball, the type of kid that we have here at Gloucester. It does change a little bit from year to year, but basically we have not real big kids, but we have fast kids, intense kids, tough kids, and kids that believe in the system. And we can just tweak it a little bit from year to year, depending on who we have. It's a physical offense, and it seems to fit our players. One of the things that we do have is a lot of speed, and I can get all the players on the field with the speed, all the running backs. One of the things that we don't do here is we don't talk about how many carries somebody has. What we do is we just play football, and if one week you'll find that your fullback has a great week, and the next week your running back has a great game, and then the wingback has a great game. So it's hard to predict, but we certainly do get some good athletes, and we try to get them all on the field. Our coaches are very experienced with it. We've studied it. We've spent a lot of time, and they're dedicated to it. So we believe we really know how to coach it. And it gives us the best chance to be competitive year in and year out, at least running the ball and the play-action passing game. Also, in any weather, it doesn't seem to affect us too much. I know with a lot of teams with the spread offense, they can be affected by weather. And also a lot with the spread is you're dependent on a quarterback that really can manage the game. So, we're happy with what we do, and we love the wing tee here, and, our players believe in it, and I think that's one of the most important features about it. Some more general information is you have to ask yourself, do you have a philosophy, and what is your philosophy? And make it clear that it's something that you really believe in as a coach. Don't think you're going to outscore people year in and year out or game in and game out. You've got to practice defense. You've got to be able to stop the other team. And I see some teams that spend too much time on offense and not enough time on defense, and you have those games where things aren't going to gel offensively. We still believe football is blocking and tackling. We work very hard, especially on blocking part. Our offensive practices are about 60% blocking. We like to control the ball in both time and field position. I will say that we've had numerous 11-minute drives where we've controlled the ball for that long. It's kind of fun to look across the field and see their quarterback tossing the ball in the air, wondering when he's going to be in there and when are we going to get off the field. We create conflicts, which I just did a presentation on some of our plays that we put players on the defense in conflict. And one of the important things is force the opposing coach to coach. Make them have to do a lot of research to figure out how to stop you. And I think the wing T does that. Make them learn keys or find keys to your offense, make them teach those keys, and make their players execute those keys under game pressure. So we believe in this, and hopefully it works for us. We also have a variety of formations that we use, but we don't get too carried away with formations. We like to basically stick to the basics here at Gloucester High School. Another thing we do is we utilize the fullback a lot more than the conventional wing T. We use him as a pulling guard almost on quick pitch, jet, and rocket. We also practice the fullback trap against a variety of defenses. We feel that even if it's not going well, we're going to use it. It's just gained positive yardage. The other team just has to stop it because it's such a quick hitter. We believe that our most productive formation is a two-back set. We like that running back. We like the lead blocker. We can run quick pitch off it, so it's like a rocket formation. So it works best for us. We don't feel you need to spread the defense to make big plays. We have plenty of big plays. Sometimes condensing the defense, you can get big plays. And we also believe that our players must understand the scheme and what we're trying to do. And I'm going to cover some of that in this presentation as to how we do that with our players. One of the things that we do is we flip-flop our line. I believe the traditional wing T, your right tackle was always your right tackle. Well, I just find at the high school level, it's hard to find two tight ends, two split ends, two wing backs. I feel that it's easier to find one. So what we do is we flip-flop the line, and we also, our tight end is always our tight end, our wing back's always our wing back, running back, and split end are always in the same position. We believe that we can practice better. We can have more reps in practice. We don't have to run plays both ways each day in practice by flip-flopping the line. We can attack their weak player with our best player. We can actually say that their left defensive tackle is weak, so we can put our best player on him. The players only have to learn the plays to their side. The strong side only has to learn certain plays off tackle, sweep, down, and the quick side only has to learn ISO, quick pitch, trap, and crisscross. So there's not as much learning. And we can better utilize our personnel, the quick tackle versus a strong tackle. They're two different positions in our offense. And half line practice. We can practice half line where we only have to run quick side and strong side. So we call them quick and strong sides. No particular reason. But let's just talk a little bit about the personnel. The quick tackle is a player that we're going to run quick pitch to, reverses to, and we're going to run cross blocking with a guard. So we want a guy with tall, long arms and a good first step. So that's somebody we're looking for that's suited for that. Our strong tackle is probably our weakest lineman. And I don't mean physically weak, I just mean he really probably doesn't have to do as much as any of the other linemen. He really mostly blocks down. So that might be the weakest person that we have in the offensive line. Our strong guard is a more physical. We want a more physical. He kicks out on sweep, probably not as good in space, but is probably the more physical of the two guards. The quick guard is quicker of the two guards and better in space. Probably cross blocking is good. We run a lot of quick pitch where he rocket reaches, so that's what we're looking for there. And probably your best lineman is your center. And the reason is we're seeing a lot of defenses where they're lining up on the center. They have a nose man. And if we have to double team, it really changes a lot of our blocking schemes. So we really try to put our best lineman at center, and hopefully we can get along with a single blocking the nose. The personnel that we're looking for in the skill positions, quarterback. I've had a variety of quarterbacks over the years, and I find the things that I'm really looking for is somebody who can manage the game, who understands the offense, who understands what the situations are, who will take the ball and throw it out of bounds if he has to, not try and force it in there. Being an accurate passer, being able to throw the ball over linebackers is important. Good hands and good feet, and like I believe all your good quarterbacks, a good competitor. But he doesn't have to be overly strong, and just somebody who really understands what we're trying to accomplish, especially game day. The wingback is probably your best athlete, has to block, has to catch, has to run, has to do a lot of the counter plays. So probably a guy that has really good speed and kind of fearless is what you would maybe want as a wingback. Our fullback, we've had big ones, small ones. It doesn't seem to really matter as long as they have quick feet and they can run the fullback trap. Some years we don't get the good blocker and we'll go with a little different scheme, but some years we get the whole package. We get the kid that can do the blocking and has the quick feet too and has the size. Our running back has to have good speed, has to be durable. He probably will carry the ball more than anybody else. And we like someone that will attack the line of scrimmage. We don't want someone always trying to bounce it out. So also that he's willing to not just carry the freight, but also do the blocking too. Split end, we spend a lot of time on stock blocking and being able to block from a nasty position. That's our first priority. And we, hopefully we get somebody who can catch the ball, and we've had some kids there, but for the most part we ask them to block. The tight end, blocking is the key. Good hands is important, but getting off the line of scrimmage, someone who can move. So that's what we're looking for with our skill players. Okay, like I said, we have the strong side and quick sides. Our strong side is made up of our strong guard, strong tackle, tight end, and wingback. Our center, then our quick guard, quick tackle, and split end. As I said, these guys are a little bit more athletic than this crew over here. And our running back's always our running back, our fullback's always our fullback, and our wingback's always our wingback. That's a little bit different than a traditional wing T, but in high school football, we feel we're lucky to find one at those positions, let alone two. The other thing is, how do we teach our offense? We have some basic rules, however, players must understand the scheme. What is the scheme of the play? What are we trying to do? Block down, kick out, lead through. So we do this because sometimes rules don't apply. Sometimes we're playing against a very good defensive tackle or somebody we need to double team them. Sometimes we're playing against a defensive tackle that's not as strong and we can single block them. So we need to be able to account for that, and sometimes the rules don't. So we go over schemes. We do so many repetitions with barrels. I'll talk to you a little bit about that later, as how we teach the schemes and the rules. And by the time that one of our players gets to their junior year, they basically know the offense and what we're trying to do offensively. The strengths of our base formations, we don't use a lot of formations, but these are the ones that we do use, and I'm just going to explain what they are. This is our basic 100 formation. That's our standard formation, 100, 900. We like the two-back set. We like having the lead blocker. We still feel we can get to the outside. We still feel we have a pretty good passing game off it. A lot of times we'll go flip 100 where the wingback comes over and lines up on the same side as the quick side. A lot of times we'll just come right out in that very quickly. We have the traditional red formation where you have your 4 quick receivers, run most of our plays from that. A lot of times we will bring in the split end. We found that creates a real problem here defensively and difficult to account for them. They don't know where to line up, so we do some nasty formations too. We do red nasty where we're in tight with the slot back right here where he's a quick receiver. We do nasty with a flip, so we end up with a wing back here and a running back behind. Again, if we came out in this formation, we would probably go on the first sound. Sometimes we like to bring the tight end over to the quick side, so we go over 100, so he moves over. And then we do a lot of right 100 And what's good about this is teams tend to want to go over and overshift to it, but we still have the two backs over here. We can run quick pitch, we can run ISO, we can run QB keeper, we can run our counter plays over here. So this formation, although it presents a problem over here, the defense tends to come over, and then we certainly can run back here. But we also can run here. And what else it does is a lot of times it forces corners and backers to have responsibilities they hadn't practiced against. So those are our base formations, and that's what we use. One of the things that before a game, how will they adjust to unbalanced? Are they going to shift over? Do I have too many formations? You should ask yourself, if you have too many formations, odd formations create odd defenses. And I think sometimes what happens is you can't predict what they're going to do, and it confuses you. A lot of wing teams shift. We do a little bit of shifting. We don't do a lot of shifting. I think you also have to ask yourself, are you confusing them or us? Are we getting more confused? Are we spending too much time on it in practice? We only have so much time. Can we do all the shifting? And does it really present a problem to the defense? Is it better just to come out in an odd formation or a different formation and just go right off that formation? You have to ask yourself these questions. So a little bit about game preparation and play calling, a little bit about what we do. Questions to ask yourself, what films does my opponent have? Now, we exchange two films, so generally you know what they have, but they could have had a film from a previous coach that ended up playing you. So try and figure out what they have for films. What did you do well? What did you do poorly in those films? What are they going to exploit? What parts of your defense or offensively, what gave you a problem? I always go back and look and see what they did against us last year. I think you have to question yourself how many years you go back, and you can overload yourself. And I'll talk about overload with this. You can just go too crazy trying to figure out what they're going to do. Have they played a wing T opponent this year? Can you get that film? Do you have access to that film? Are we balanced with the formations that we're going with? Can we hit all parts of the field? If they overshift, can we attack away? If we go unbalanced one way, are they going to overshift? Let's have part of our game plan coming back the other way. And do I have play action passes off my best run plays? And you should have your base plays, and you should have your play action passes off those, and then maybe some special plays with a play action pass off that. Another question you should ask yourself, do I need a plan B? If things aren't going well, what can I resort to? Now, this is a big question because a lot of times it takes a lot more planning to put in some other things on your offense that you feel you might need against a really good opponent. What are my tendencies? And we have tendencies, but can they still stop us? I think you have to realistically look at who you're playing against and say, yeah, we've got tendencies, but we feel we can still overpower them. What are my tendencies? Maybe you should self-scout. I know with a lot of the computer programs, you can self-scout and you can see what your tendencies are. But you really do have to ask yourself, is this what we do best? This is what we do, this is who we are, and this is how we're going to go into the game. And you also have to say, am I putting my team in a position to win? I mean, can we, what we're doing, win this football game on Saturday? So a little bit of a breakdown. Now, there's computer scouting, and I know a lot of teams are going to that. I'm just a little bit afraid of an overload of information. These are the things that I just really want to know from a film or if we do live scouting. I want to know the starters include their year. I think it's important to know if you're playing against a sophomore or a senior, or maybe even a freshman. And you should know a little bit about their height and weight. And I think more importantly is, are they quick or are they slow? I think that's something that's very important, especially against us. Is anyone injured from the previous game or a few weeks ago? I think it's important to maybe get newspaper articles to find out if someone was hurt in a game. What style of offense are they playing against? I mean, if they're playing against the spread, it's really not going to do us much good to watch what they do against the spread because we're not going to come out in that kind of formation. We really kind of have to try and figure out what will they do against the wing T team. Is there a weak defender? What's his number? I usually go by numbers rather than names. I never remember names, but I can remember numbers for some reason. What type of defense do they use on specific downs? What do they tend to use on first down, second down? Real important is how do they align to a wing? Do they bring someone up on the line of scrimmage and cover him? Do they play him back? Do they stack behind the defensive end? That's a real important question as to how they're going to line to your wing. What defense do they run near the goal line? Is it best for us to maybe go 2 tight ends to balance them out down near the goal line? Who makes the most tackles? What player do we really have to get a body on? This guy is the guy who's going to find the ball. Well, what number is their strongest linebacker? What is the overall strength or weakness of their defense? Can they adjust to multiple formations? Do they have a tough time getting a line? Do they kind of looking to see, should I be over here, should I be over there? Can you confuse them? What did the opponent do well against them? And what did they do poorly? And what type of coverage are you probably going to get in the secondary? So these are the basic questions. I don't want to get too overloaded with information. I think it's very important that you have balance on your offense. And a situation that I can say is that a situation that we had was that we played a team in the Super Bowl and we ran very well against them over here. And we ended up the following year playing them again, and they overshifted everything over here, and we had the ammo to attack back to this quick side or weak side, and we ran the ball even more effectively this second game because we could come back here and they really weren't prepared for this. So I think you really have to look and see where your plays are and see that you can hit all areas of the field. This is our base plays. Up here are our run plays. These are basically our play action passes down here from our base formation. And you can see that we can attack every area of the field with both the passing and the running game. One thing that you have to understand, not just you but your players, is how do you create conflicts with the wing T. And the defender is placed in conflict when he reacts to stop a certain play. This places him in a poor position against another play in that series. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to look at specific positions and put those players in conflict. All right, this is a little animation that shows you a little bit about the conflicts that the wing T creates, at least with the running game. This is the strong side. So if the tight end blocks down, what does the defensive end do? If he comes up the field, you want to attack him with a down or an off tackle. If the defensive end, after the tight end blocks down, squeezes, you want to attack him with a sweep. If the defensive tackle, when the guard blocks down, comes up the field, you want to attack him with trap and gut. And if the defensive tackle squeezes real hard, you really want to run outside of him. So this animation kind of shows you how this works. So these are the conflicts to the quick side. So this is the quick side. This would be the quick guard, quick tackle. If the quick tackle blocks down and the defensive end comes straight up the field, ISO and crisscross are good plays. If the the offensive tackle blocks down and the defensive end squeezes, QB keeper, quick pitch, reverse, and waggle are good plays. You could also do this with the passing game. Both the coaches and players should understand the conflicts, and we especially like to place the defensive end and the person who has flat coverage in conflict. Basically, we go into a football game, and those are the two people we're going to find out whether how they're going to react to a tight end blocking down and a wing back blocking down. If they're going to be aggressive and come up the field, especially the flat player, we're going to throw the ball in the flat. If they sit back in the flat, then we're going to attack them with a sweep. So those are the people that we generally start out the game trying to figure out how they're going to play. Okay, let's talk a little bit about play calling. First of all, I believe play calling is a skill, and not everyone's good at it. I think you have to be objective. I think if you're the type of head coach where you say, well, I'm the head coach, I'm going to call the plays, maybe that's not your strength, and maybe there's somebody else who can do a better job at that. And it takes time, and I know that in my experience, I think it took a long time for me to get better at it. I think I played quarterback, and I felt like, well, of course I can call the plays, but I think you learn how to call plays, and especially in tough situations, anybody can call plays when you're ahead or way behind, but it's calling the plays when a tough situation in a pretty competitive game. If you call the plays, you probably should reduce your responsibilities on defense. I think that when the defense is out there, your defense, it's time to reflect on what you were calling in the past series and just kind of say, this is my plan for the next time we get the ball. And if you have defensive responsibilities, you don't have the time to do that. And preparation's the key. Let the players know what your plan is and make them a part of it. Get up on the board, say, this is what we're planning on doing. This is what we think will work. And I think showing them the film of the defender of why you're doing that plan will help you. It'll help them understand the game plan. And another thing that I think is very helpful is if you're going to call the plays, you should call them during the week. And I don't mean even at practice. I'm saying that you should visualize in your mind the situations that you can have or you're going to have in this football game and how you're going to react to those situations. If they do this, this is the best play, I think, to put myself in a good position. So during the week, maybe for 15 or 20 minutes a day, just kind of sit quietly and say, this is a situation, this is what I think I'm going to call. And I know we ask players to visualize themselves doing well. We should also visualize ourselves calling the plays. And I think if you're going to call the plays in the game, you have to call the plays in practice. I think the quarterback gets used to the way you call them, and if somebody else calls them in practice and you call them in the game, it can get confusing. So if you call them in the game, you should also call them in practice. You should also, what plays should we audible out of? And what plays will we audible to? I would restrict the number of plays you're going to audible out of, and I would restrict the number of audibles that you can go to. I think that you can overload the quarterback with too much. I think you can only practice maybe 2 or 3 audibles at the most, and probably 2 or 3 defenses or plays that you want to get out of to get to a better play. It's just, again, it's too much information, I believe, sometimes for the quarterback, and it's a lot simpler to limit it. During the game, my logic is we always, if we win the toss, defer. Let their offense go out and execute. I believe it's harder to execute offense than defense, especially at the beginning of a game. And what happens, I find most of the time, is the offense sputters a little bit. They don't know what to expect from you from defense, and they end up punting the ball, and they're giving you the ball at the 40-yard line or the 50-yard line, and you've got a short field to work with. So I think deferring makes sense. I know you have sometimes, well, we've got a great offense, we're going to go out there first. We have a very good offense, but we always sent our defense out first if we could, get the good field position, and then take it from there. I want my quarterback to come to the sideline. There's more than just telling him to play. I know a lot of people say, why should he run all the way over, and you call the play and you tell him to run back. But I know that you can talk to him about a lot more than just the play. Make sure that someone holds on to the ball. Make sure that we're back off the ball. I want you to go on 2 on this play. I need this information relayed to the split. I need this information relayed. So those things, by coming over, you can discuss a lot more than just calling the play. Right after the game starts, I want a visual representation of what the defense is doing. So what we do is we have cards. The cards are made up by the guys upstairs. They're brought down so I can look. Most of us are visual learners, so by looking at those cards, I can say, well, that's how they're lining up. And then I try to affirm that with my players, saying, is that the alignment? Is that what you're seeing out there? So that when I call plays, I have an idea of what I'm calling them against. And I think one of the things you got to watch out for is game day overload. That you have this huge sheet that some computer printed out. You have a huge play sheet. You have a headset on with 4 guys up top, and you have all this information coming at you, and I just think you can be overloaded with it. I myself don't wear the headset. I have someone next to me wear it, and I feel I can focus better, and I don't have a huge play sheet, and I don't have a sheet that tells me all of their tendencies. I think that I do better when I just don't have that much information available to myself. I call plays to get first downs and to stay on schedule. 3rd and long are tough calls. So all I really do, and I really mean this, I just look at the first down marker, how can we get there, right? Trying to stay on schedule means you gain 3 1/3 yards per carry, and once it starts to get over that, it starts getting tougher calling plays. Before each game, we watch the other team warm up. Are they warming up using the defense that we expected, or is it a different defense? And maybe it is a different defense. We can at least have a little time when we go inside to go up on the board and to show the kids, well, this is what they're showing now, game day, be prepared for this defense. If we do put in new plays or formations, we do them indoors. We don't do them out on the field. I don't want them to see something we're doing new. So I'll talk to you about our pre-game practice, but we do those inside. Call plays you know you can execute. And if you've been running something in practice and you can only do it once out of 4 times, I would say you're not executing that play. And don't rely on something like that. You're not putting the kids in a position to win by calling a play that you know they can't execute. If you have a cannon, fire it. I mean, if you got a player or a play that's working, run it to death. Make them stop it. Make them figure out how to stop that play. Make their coaches coach. If things aren't going well, go back to basics. Don't get too fancy. And I mean that a lot of times in a game, we maybe get too fancy and we're running sideline to sideline, is just attack them and go right after them. What you want to do is build confidence with your players and that they feel they can execute plays. And sometimes the basics is the best way to do that. During the game, ask your players, which defensive end is the weakest? What's his number? So that I know when I run sweep or off tackle, I really want to run it towards that player. Which defensive tackle can be trapped? Which guy is running up the field? Which guy doesn't key you? When you block down, he just goes out or goes, you can predict where he's going to go. A lot of times, there'll always be, in my experience, there'll always be one defensive tackle that's more trappable than the other. Is the force player playing deeper back? The guy outside who's got force to stop the sweep, is he far off the ball? Is he very close? If he's far off the ball, we want to run sweep. If he's up tight, we want to run sweep pass. Are they reading keys or just looking in the backfield? Well, I've talked about this before. Make the other coach teach the kids the keys and have them read them. Now, that's one thing to do in practice, but are those kids during the game, under the game pressure, do they have the confidence to look at a tight end or a wing back and not look in the backfield? A lot of times you can tell by how their head is faced whether they're looking in the backfield or they are actually reading keys. Can the defensive back cover you? Is he respecting the pass? Is he just playing the run? Are we getting to their linebackers? Are we blocking their linebackers? Most defenses are designed where the linebackers make all the tackles. Are we getting a body on them? Are they fast flow to the ball? Should we be running counters? Are they really just taking off to the ball? So these are things you can ask your players, and I found from my experience you get pretty good information from them. Who is making the tackles? Are we changing our snap count? One of the problems sometimes with quarterbacks is they go on one all the time. And a lot of times you can't tell from the sideline, are they? Ask the players, is he changing the snap count? And another thing is, are we back off the ball? With the wing T, offensive line, we want to be back off the ball. We don't want to be right up on the line of scrimmage. Have a halftime procedure. Make halftime meaningful. Have a procedure for the adjustments that you're going to make, that everybody knows what you're going to do. Now, what I do usually is we go in and I draw up their defense. I confirm with the players, is this how they're lined up? I also will review my play calling summary sheet that someone keeps track of the call and the down and distance and plus or minus yards. Sometimes you forget what was working and you get into this other mode. So look and see what's working and what isn't working. Decide what changes you'll make and write them down. So what I need to do is I write them down. These are the plays that I want to stress in the second half. Because a lot of times under the pressure of the game and all the situations, you get out there and you go, well, what were they? So you have them written down. I go up to the players up in the locker room and I say to them, this is what our plans are. And I draw them up on the board. Then I make the players repeat it back to me. What are we going to do in the second half? Now, you can go in there and you can say, we're going to do this, and they'll go, yeah, 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 but do they really paying attention? Or are they just kind of like catching their breath? So what I do is I make them repeat back to me the changes that we're going to do in the second half. We're going to block a little bit differently, or we're going to attack somebody a little bit differently. And one of the questions, too, is, do I need to come out in the second half in different formations? I think a lot of times with the wing T, and you don't want to outthink yourself, but you can run certain formations in the first half and run different formations in the second half, but still run the same plays. Is that something I want to do? Is that something I need to do? Okay, offensive play sheet. How I do it, my plays are organized by formations. I have the running plays on the left and the pass plays on the right. My base plays stay the same from week to week. I line them up so that I go from strong side to quick side, from right to left. My special plays are highlighted. Those are ones that I've really thought about, that I really want to maybe try. Plays are based on one formation. In other words, I put them all down as a 100. I've learned to give the mirror play out of my head. So I know that 121 sweep, the mirror play is 929 sweep. I don't need to write 929 sweep on my play sheet. The best called games, I rarely use the play sheet. It's a flow and it's a feel. When you're looking down at your play sheet all the time, you've got problems. That you're trying to drum up something or you're trying to find something that's eventually going to work. Generally speaking, you get in the flow of the game, you get a feel for the game, and you know what to call. So here's a copy of my play sheet. This is my 100 formation run plays, and these are my pass plays off it. This is my flip plays, my nasty plays, my flip nasty plays, my over plays, which the tight end comes over, the flip plays, the wing back comes over to the other side. And over here, I have just passes off those. Then I put a few special plays here that I really want to try. And then I have my 2-point plays here. So this is all I have. Now I can figure out what the flip play is in my head. So I don't have to write every play down here. I don't want this thing so filled with plays that I can't find my information. So I make it pretty concise. So I also have on the back of my play sheet a checklist and my go for two chart. I guess everyone knows what a go for two chart is. It tells you, depending on how far ahead or how far behind, does it make sense to go for one or go for two. But on the back of my play sheet, I have my shifting plays, because I don't want to shift to everything. My 2-point plays again, my short yardage plays, my trick plays. If I need false keys, a couple of plays for that. I'll have my hurry up series on it, my audibles, anything long yardage that I need, and I might script the first series just to see how they're going to adjust to formations. So this is the back of my play sheet where my shifting plays are here, my short yardage are there. These are my hurry up series, and the numbers to the side, I call them by numbers. These are favored plays, plays that I think are really going to work, that if I'm in a bind and I'm not doing well calling the plays, I'll go to this. These are my audibles. These are down here. This is my Big Ben. So if we have like 5 seconds left and a half, who goes out, who comes in. This is what stops the clock. This is hard 3, and so to maybe draw them off sides. I have a hard 3 with a snap, a hard 3 without a snap, or a circumstance where I just don't want that ball snapped at all. We'll just call timeout if they don't go over. So this is the back side of it too, along with my go for 2 chart. My hurry up series, each offensive player will have a wristband, and the plays will be numbered, and all they do is they look at their wristband, and the quarterback will call out 2 numbers, 6 and 9. So we'll run play 6 first and 9 second. We practice this each Thursday along with stopping the clock, how to stop the clock, how to get out of bounds, what does stop the clock. I'll only use a few select plays from the wristband. The wristband has a lot of plays, but each week I'll say these are the ones I'm going to use. I just don't want overload of information for the players either. This is my hurry up series wristband plays. Obviously I enlarged it for this, but the numbers are over here. These are the odd numbers, these are the even numbers. And it's hard to get them all on there, but like I say, a lot of times I will condense it and I'll only select a few. But these are the possible plays that we could run if we need a hurry up series. Well, that's a little bit about how we do our game planning and our play calling, and a little bit of information on the system we use here at Gloucester. So haven't seen too many DVDs on play calling, so hopefully this was helpful to you and you get something out of it. I know there's a lot of systems out there, but this seems to work for us, and in my experience it's worked for me. So hopefully you find something, and good luck with it, and good luck next season. Thank you.